everyone, it's Morgyn from For the Love of Paper, and I am here with my first project using this month's Kitaholic Kits, and I am creating a layout with this photo here. It's actually a photo of a cross stitch I recently made for a friend's daughter's first birthday, so I did frame it and everything, and it had her name underneath, but I've cut that out. And when I saw that we were using these this collection, that's what I wanted to say, in the kits, I knew that this would be a perfect photo to use for that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now the sparkle and unicorn words, I did a cut file on my silhouette, which decided to work for one random occasion and probably won't work for another 3 months. I think I need a new one, but I managed to cut this out and be able to use it on my layout. So I kind of laid it out how I wanted it to be, and then went through all of the die cuts and the exclusive die cuts, and pulled out the bits that I thought I might want to use on the page. And then I pulled out the sequins because I thought I might have wanted to use those, but they don't quite make it to the page. And then also this little gold, what is it, arrow. And when I saw the blue arrow, I was like, oh, maybe these could go together. And a few little hearts, and yeah, so the title is going to be Sparkle Like a Unicorn, and I do just get some alphas from my stash to fill in the other couple of words there. I was going to use the word sparkle from the word thickers that you can see off to the side there, but it wasn't quite big enough. I needed it to be a little bit bigger on the layout. It would have just been a little bit too small, unfortunately. So now with this one, I wanted it to be gold and sparkly, so I got out my embossing powder in gold and embossed the heck out of this cut file. So it's only out of regular cardstock, and I just get my what is that stuff called, the ink you use to do embossing? No, I've forgotten. And I just, as you saw, I just pressed my my word into the ink, and that's all I did. So just kind of, yeah, stamped it in, and that's it. Normally, obviously, you would use a stamp and stamp it into the ink pad, but I just covered the cardstock. Oh my goodness, my words today. Covered the cardstock in the ink, and then tipped the embossing powder over it, and used my heat gun to melt it. Is that what it's doing? I suppose it is melting it, isn't it? Really? And that was it. So I only did half the word at a time. So I did the end half, and then I went back and did the first half, because I didn't want it to sort of fold over and get the sticky Versamark. That's what it's called. I didn't want to get that everywhere and make a big fat mess. So that's why I did it in stages, and then laid everything out on my page again, make sure that's what I wanted, in case I wanted to go back and change the gold around. And then I realized that I actually wanted to use the other side of this paper as well, but I couldn't really do that because I was using it as my background piece. So I was a little bit sneaky, and I drew around my photo, as you could see there. Then I trimmed my photo down only by, I don't know, a couple of millimeters on each side, not very much. And so then that was smaller than this piece that I drew around before, and then I cut that out. So then I could use both sides of this pattern paper, because I only have one of it. So it's a little way that I could stretch my kit out and use all of the pretty papers, because I really like the other side. the blue floral one. I actually had an idea of a layout I wanted to do for that, but never mind, I've used the other side, so it doesn't matter. So this is what I wanted it for. I wanted it to like mask behind the letters in the word unicorn. So I measured how tall they were, and then I was going to trim out the piece, and I'm like, oh well, I could use this piece as a photo mat as well. So I was using every single bit of this piece of paper. Nothing was going to be left behind. I use just about all my scraps on this, as you'll see in a minute. So I trimmed out a frame, so I still had the middle bit, and used that as the mat for my photo. And what else did I do? I think I get another, oh yeah, this is my scraps container, which I have actually emptied out about 3 times in the last 6 months, and it's still chocker full of scraps. And this is just a dark blue piece that I had lying around, and then I made another photo mat just to make it a bit bigger than that, the square that I cut out. And that blue matches quite nicely with the blue floral pattern paper as well. And I think that's all the photo mat that I do. Yep. Now it's time to glue it down on my page, and there wasn't very much space to work with, so I just did a really, really thin line of glue along each side. I was going to use tape, but there wasn't enough space, unfortunately. It's only the tiniest little lip there, and it wasn't quite strong enough, so I got some washi tape out and reinforced it a bit more. But how pretty is that paper? I'm almost tempted to do a layout on the other side of that paper. I am thinking I might, and then I'll use the photo to cover up the big gap. I think. I'm thinking about it. I'm wondering what I could do on the other side, because it's such a beautiful paper. And now it's time to start gluing, not everything down, but what I've got down. And then I'll start working on the unicorn word. Now this layout actually took me a long time. This one took me about an hour and a half. I think I did stop a couple of times, to have a cup of tea and whatnot during the process. But that included making the cut file, cutting it out, and everything pretty much. So it was a bit of a longer process, but it was really fun. I haven't done anything like this before, where you cut out the letters and then stick the colored paper behind. I've done it with shapes, but never with words. And then at this point, when I was making my embellishment cluster, I realized I had glued down my photo mat, so I couldn't tuck things underneath. So me being me, I just trimmed them to make it look like they were underneath, which also gave me that tag that I've cut there. You can see on the right hand side next to the ruler, there's the other leftover piece of that, and I end up using that in one of my letters as well. So when I said before that I used up everything, literally everything, there was hardly any scraps at the end, which is always nice. And what else do I add in there? I'm pretty sure I add one of those hearts in there, or maybe later. So there you go. This is where I get out the little extra piece. Now to do these, I don't know how other people do them, or if there's a way you're supposed to do this. I guess if I had time, I could cut out the letters again in the different pattern papers, but I think that would be quite time consuming because I wanted it all different patterns. So I just drew around the outside of the letter and then trimmed them out. So I don't know if other people do it differently. let me know. Leave me a comment below and tell me if there's an easier way to do it, because this took quite a while to get everything to line up. And of course, I didn't want to chop into too many bits of paper, so I've used the reverse side of various ones, and I think I only cut into one other piece of paper because I used the piece that I cut out, and then I cut another piece of paper, I think, because I wanted to leave some pages whole, which is the problem. It's always the problem with the first layout. You don't want to cut into everything. So this was where I used the floral paper. I used it for the U, and then I think maybe the O. Can't remember. I do remember trying to squish as many onto the one piece of paper as I possibly could. But I do like the end result. It was really, really fun. I just wish that my silhouette machine played nicely with me more often and I could use more cut files, because so many times I've gone to cut something out and it won't cut deep enough, or it only cuts half of the words, or it cuts too deep and I end up with big marks in my thing, or the paper's been sticking to the mat, or it does this thing where it'll cut for a bit and then it'll just stop and think, and then it'll cut a bit and then it'll stop and think and cut and stop. Oh, it drives me crazy. And something that should take 5 minutes to cut out ends up taking about 25 minutes, and then half the time it hasn't even cut properly and I can't use it anyway. It's very, very frustrating. So this is the final result of all my cutting and pasting. So you can see which ones I've used there. Managed to get a few out. I'm pretty sure I only used two other pieces of paper and then the other half of that tag. And now finishing off my little embellishment cluster off the side there, I add in a couple of hearts, and I put this one up on foam tape. I also put the butterfly on foam tape, as well as my unicorn word, give a bit more dimension. And then I wanted to get some chipboard on here as well. I used the little XOXO one, and I don't do any journaling on this. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know I either don't do a title, usually because I forget, and sometimes because I can't think of one. So this one has a title, but it doesn't have journaling, so I can never seem to get journaling and a title on a layout. I don't think I've done that in a while. My pages usually are missing one or the other, or both. So this one doesn't really have any journaling, but I didn't really know what to put. I suppose I could put, this was a cross stitch I made for a birthday present, but I don't know, it seems kind of like it's unnecessary, doesn't need to be there. I don't know, I'm weird. So I ended up adding those little arrows under the word instead of in the middle where I was initially going to put it. And then I work on the and I realize I don't have any K's. How have I used the K's? I never use the K's. So I decided that I would cut this X in half and combine it with an I and make a K, because why not? And I mean, yeah, you can tell that it's not quite right, but it's not terrible. And I probably won't notice in 10 years time when I look back at this one. So there's my title, Sparkle Like a Unicorn. And finishing off the page, I add in a bunch of these stars from this sheet of what are they? Word stickers? Phrase stickers? Thickers? They're thickers, aren't they? But they're not, it's not an alphabet, so word thickers? Is that what they're called? I don't know. Let me know if you know what they're called, what the proper name for them is. So a few of those stars around the place, and then I do a little embellishment cluster up in this top corner. And in hindsight, I probably should have done it in the top right corner rather than the top left corner, just to get that triangle, like the visual triangle, like I've done with the green stars. I've done them in 3 places. I probably should have done, although it doesn't look terrible, but I probably should have done it the other way. Oh well, never mind. So I used some washi from the washi book. That was a branding strip from one of the papers that I cut into. A stamp from the die cut pack, and then I think I put another wood veneer arrow because we had the wood veneer down below. And I think that is this layout done, guys. Yeah, I just do a doodly border around the outside and call it done. And so be sure to go and check out Kitaholic Kits. There'll be a link to their website and Facebook group below. So go check them out and come and join us on our Facebook group, because we're always having fun and chit chats over there. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will catch you next time. Bye.